I had to cut my narcissistic mother off for a while until I was able to do some important healing. Doing that was one of the most difficult things I had ever done. And cutting off your narcissistic father will be difficult too. But it's a choice you often need to make for your own well-being. One of the first things to do is to be clear about when you should make this decision and whether or not your relationship with him can be saved. Once you've made those determinations, the tips I offer you will help you cut him off in the easiest way possible. Here are some tips for cutting off your narcissistic father so that you can ensure you will have the space you need to heal. Number 1. Set clear, strong boundaries. The next step in the process is to set clear, strong boundaries with distinct consequences. This is an important part of the process of detaching yourself from your toxic father. Your boundaries are your way of respecting yourself. The goal is not to get your father to change his ways. Only he can do that. The goal is to force him, and anyone else in your life for that matter, to respect you the way you deserve to be respected. This is you taking care of yourself. And it's something your narcissistic father should have been doing all along, but his personality disorder doesn't allow for that. One thing is for certain, your father will never accept responsibility for his actions. To do so would likely cause a narcissistic collapse, as his false self-image, that is, the one he constructed in childhood, comes tumbling down. You can't change him. But you can start respecting yourself with clear boundaries, and you can refuse to interact with him if he crosses a line. He won't change his ways, but he may stop behaving badly around you. Number 2. Organize a strong social support network. When you cut your narcissistic father out of your life, you're going to need your peeps. These are the loving family and friends who genuinely have your best interests at heart. These are the people you need around you to support your decision and help you heal. It's a good idea to get them identified and organized before you cut your narcissistic father out of your life. They will be vital to helping you actually follow through on this decision. Now, your father may have isolated you from friends and family. But there are things you can do to develop a helpful group of people to support you. Number 3. Recognize that your health and well-being are your priority. To be successful in distancing yourself from a toxic parent, you have to put your needs first. Your narcissistic father should have done that himself, but his personality disorder didn't allow him to focus on anyone other than himself. That doesn't mean, however, that you have to put yourself last. It's time to be the parent to your own inner child that your father should have been to you. You can be your own hero, and in fact, you need to be in order to heal the damage he has done. When you're ready to break off contact with a narcissistic parent, that means your time has come. You're ready to begin the courageous task of healing the wounds created by their toxic abuse. You deserved to have been cherished, encouraged, supported, and unconditionally loved. Instead, you were dismissed, your feelings minimized, and you were mercilessly criticized. If you were lucky, you were simply ignored. It's not a good childhood by anyone's measure, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve to have a great life now. It's time to recognize that you matter. Number 4. Let go of blaming yourself for the relationship status. You're the child, and your narcissistic father is the parent. It was his responsibility to cultivate a strong, loving relationship with you. You didn't do anything wrong. Adults are the one who are tasked with taking care of their children in a way that helps them develop a healthy identity mechanism and self-esteem. Your narcissistic father didn't do that. He damaged your psychosocial development. What's more, he's not sorry. Narcissists don't apologize, and if they do, they're up to something. The manipulation your father employed to try and control you was not an example of good parenting. He is responsible for the status of your relationship. You didn't deserve that, and you are not to blame. Period. He'll blame you and allow you to carry the burden of that if you let him, and that's why you can't let him. Remember, you need to be your own hero, and it's time to take back your life from a toxic parent who doesn't have your best interests at heart. Number 5. Accept that your narcissistic father will push back. There are many ways your narcissistic father may react to your decision to cut him out of your life. He may seem to accept it, but then continue to send you emails or contact people in your family about you. He may fly into a rage and start screaming at you. He may start a smear campaign against you within your family in order to do damage control for anything you might say about him. He may still try to contact you despite your decision. He may even show up at your home or place of work to insist that you see him. He may become incredibly charming to try to win you back. No matter what, he will push back in some way. Narcissists can't empathize with how their behavior affects other people, and they can't accept responsibility for causing problems. So he will respond in some way, and you simply have to accept that might happen. Number 6. Write your father a letter. One way to actually go about letting your narcissistic father know about your decision is by writing him a letter. That way, you don't have to be present for his immediate reaction, which is likely to include rage, and you can think about what you want to say and how best to say it. You won't have to be worried about being interrupted as you try to make your point, and you can say everything you want to say. Here are some points you might consider including in that letter if you decide to do it this way. Our relationship is not adding value to my life. I no longer need your criticism or judgment. You don't seem to care about my needs, so this is better for you, too. I'm grateful for the things you did for me, like providing me with shelter and food, but a father's love means so much more. I need time to heal some issues that our relationship has caused, and I must therefore insist that you don't contact me until I let you know otherwise. I wish you well going forward, but I no longer want to be around you. And number 7, don't argue with him over your decision. If your father does push back by confronting you about your decision, it will do you no good whatsoever to argue with him about it. If you do argue, he will see that as a weakness and try to exploit what he interprets as indecisiveness. What's more, you risk actually falling for this tactic by agreeing to anything just to get him to shut up. And he may cause you to question whether or not the problems you have with him are your responsibility. The best response, if he confronts you, is to simply reiterate your decision and walk away. Refuse to let him pull you into an argument. He may say some very provocative things to get a response from you, but ignore those and get away from him. In the end, a narcissistic father is not a good parent. He's about the furthest thing from the stereotypical, loving, supportive father you always see depicted in the movies. He will criticize you, compete with you, and never give you the praise you need to encourage you to keep going. He will not only create emotional wounds and triggers, but he will also use those very triggers he created to manipulate and control you. I've run into this kind of abuse before, and that's why I created a 5-step roadmap to heal emotional triggers. This handy guide is designed to help you recognize your emotional triggers so you can diffuse and heal them. It's free, and I'll send it directly to your inbox if you just click on the link below the video. This guide will help you prevent the toxic abuse your father will employ to get you to do what he wants forever. Thanks for watching.